Without Donald Trump, the Republican Party is finished. In 2016, Republicans did really, really well. They maintained control of the House, the Senate, and they won the presidency. That was Donald Trump. But in 2018, things changed. They lost control of the House. They lost 31 seats. In 2020, they did pretty well again, winning back several seats, defending the Senate for the most part so far, and winning at the state level as well in many of the state House races. Donald Trump, however, did not win. But the big difference between 2016, 2020, and 2018. In 2016 and 2020, where Republicans did well, Donald Trump was the top of the ticket. In 2018, where they did really poorly, Donald Trump was not. It was a midterm election. The New York Times reported that Trump's base did not turn out in the midterms, and thus Republicans lost control of the House. So what do you think is going to happen now in the Georgia runoff race? Do you think people are going to show up and vote for Perdue and Loeffler? Personally, I don't think so. I know a lot of people are saying it's Georgia. Come on, it's going to go Republican. And many are saying that with or without Trump, there's a lot of Republicans who are going to stand up to defend the Senate because they're worried about a Democrat supermajority. Maybe. I kind of felt that way a little while ago, but at this point, I'm not sure I really care anymore because I have to wonder what it is Republicans do. Honest question. What do they do? I can tell you what they're doing now. We have this story from the Daily Mail. MAGA turns on Mitch. Trump says people are angry after allies, including Michael Flynn, slammed the GOP Senate Majority Leader for caving to the mob and China by recognizing Biden as president-elect. But let me show you what they do. Mitch McConnell urges GOP senators not to object to electoral college vote. The Turtle Man has said, Republicans, Donald Trump has got us 200 plus federal court judges and 3 Supreme Court justices. I would like you all to to wait for him while his back is turned and place the knife figuratively upon Donald Trump. That's what Mitch McConnell said. Do not support him. Do not. What are the Republicans good for? I'll tell you. For most Trump supporters and for many of the Republicans who joined the Trump train, it was a vehicle that people were riding on to get Trump. Trump was doing what many people wanted. I'll tell you something funny. Viral meme, which maybe you've seen, where it's Donald Trump talking about some kind of stimulus for COVID. Turns out it was actually a Bernie Sanders tweet, but they put Trump's name on it. And then all the Trump supporters cheered for it. Owned the cons, huh? Those silly conservatives didn't realize they were supporting Bernie Sanders. Many Trump supporters were Bernie supporters. 9 million voted for Barack Obama. The left doesn't get this because they don't know what Trump supporters and conservatives think and they don't pay attention. But perhaps these people should ask themselves, if Donald Trump and his supporters agree with you and Trump is in office fighting for you, and Joe Biden is the corporate crony capitalist corrupt politician who is now lining his administration with Goldman Sachs and bankster lobbyists, are you the baddies? Maybe you should ask yourself that because your guy backed Wall Street, the big banks, and the massive multinational corporations. And it turns out the whole time Trump and his supporters agreed with you. Not on everything. Obviously not on everything. Trump does rag on the radical left. But more to the point, at this time, I am not as concerned with Democrats. You know what? Let me tell you something. I have been saying over the past couple of months, wow, it'll be apocalyptic if the Democrats take control of the Senate as well. And I've said maybe the best thing for us is that the Republicans maintain control of the Senate, so everything kind of slows down and deadlocks. And to be honest, my head says, yes, Tim, that is the correct answer. If the Republicans control the Senate, Joe Biden will be constrained and everything will kind of stabilize for a period. And that's a good thing. But my gut and my heart says, no. No. Sorry. Mitch McConnell, you would not stand up for Trump amid these trying times. You, like the Republicans have always done, are just sitting there saying, oh, the Democrats, and then doing nothing, fighting for nothing, fighting for no cause for conservatives. Literally, what McConnell and the Republicans do is nothing but object to the Democrats and then eventually cave in. The best point, as I brought up in the past several days, comes from Michael Malice when he said, Obama got a mandate. You had to buy health insurance by law or face a fine. Where's the Republicans doing anything like that? You must buy a gun or face a fine. Nothing for conservative values being presented in this way. And maybe because it does fly in the face of what conservatives, actually want. Life, liberty, pursuit of happiness, leave me alone. So maybe they don't want to force people to do this. But in that case, you have the Democrats constantly fighting for their values. And you got Antifa on the street throwing bricks. And Mitch McConnell being like, well, everybody, we got to just slow down and let the Democrats steamroll us and do whatever they want. Okay. If Mitch McConnell and the Republicans are just saying, let the Democrats do whatever, then why should I care about the Republican runoff race? I'll tell you this. Don't care for Loeffler. Don't care for Perdue. Never cared for the Republican Party. And I'm voting for Trump. I voted for Trump basically because he's trying to pull our troops out of the Middle East. And I said earlier this year I wouldn't. Now, my question is whether or not Trump supporters are going to get behind the Republican Party. I'm going to go ahead and say probably not. At least not to the degree that the Republicans need to maintain control of the Senate. In fact, many prominent Trump supporters have said, sacrifice the Senate. They don't represent us. And here's my opinion. I'll tell you this. You know what I want to see? I want to see a new political party. Let me tell you this, Trump supporters. I can already hear the Republicans saying Tim is going to hurt the Republican Party by saying this. I think Trump supporters should form a new political party. I think the progressive Democrats should form a new political party. I've said so many times. As long as you keep giving power to these crooks, these swamp creatures, it won't change. Now, the Trump supporters were lucky that Donald Trump took the top of the ticket, became effectively leader of the Republican Party. But look what they do at a moment's notice. They put the knife figuratively in the back. There's a funny post on the Donald.win. They said Trump breaks world record for most knives in the back. Yeah. But the thing about Bernie Sanders, he wasn't strong enough to challenge the machine. So he joined the machine. Trump is the opposite. Trump was strong enough to challenge the machine and he took it over. Now, Mitch McConnell is absolutely happy to see Trump go. Many of these Republicans are. 126 House Republicans backed Trump. Many say it's because they're scared. They're scared of the Trump base. Good. Here's what I think needs to happen. I think Trump supporters need to form their own party, a party that believes in the Constitution. And I believe even if they will not have a majority and it guarantees Democrats a victory this time around, so what? What's the difference between the Republicans going, oh, let the Democrats do their thing, and the Democrats just doing their thing anyway? The best thing that I think could happen to this country is a new political party, something to break this Democrat-Republican crony uniparty garbage. And the Republicans will cry all day and night. But who cares? I understand Republican voters will be concerned. My concern is for the people. But why do I care about Lindsey Graham and Mitch McConnell or any of these Republicans? They don't do anything. And that's what Hotep Jesus said. I'm paraphrasing. But, when I asked him on the IRL podcast, why, we rag on Democrats all the time. What about Republicans? And he said, I don't know that Republicans do anything, that I can be complaining about. What do they do? And I'm like, that's exactly it, man. They don't do anything. They're basically like the Democrats are, trying to run full speed off the cliff. And the Republicans are just holding the rope and being dragged slowly behind them with their eyes half closed. The Republicans or Trump supporters, conservatives, moderates, disaffected liberals, we need someone who's going to pull on that rope and say, nah, y'all going crazy. Pull it back. We're not getting that. So I tell you, man, if the Democrats are going to get their way anyway, then why vote for these Republicans? And again, I already know there's probably a bunch of Republicans saying, Tim, you're wrong. You're going to give Democrats full control of everything. Bro, the Republicans are already doing that. It's like you're watching the Republican Party laugh all the way down while they're telling you, don't worry, we're fighting against this. And then Mitch McConnell goes, please don't defend the president. Even symbolically? You know what, man? I'm not saying Trump is right or wrong to be doing the things he's doing. I'm just saying Republicans certainly don't have the backs of their constituents. And I'm not surprised. Let me show you how deep the swamp monster pit goes. Lindsey Graham, a man that I've never been a fan of and, have said as much many times. I've given him credit for some things he's done that have been good, but he's the guy who comes out and says, I think Donald Trump should fight to the bitter end. You know, he should absolutely take every legal challenge to win this race. And the next video is him walking up to Kamala Harris, giving her a fist bump, patting her on the back. Oh, come on. You don't really believe anything you're saying. Well, Lindsey Graham said this. To those urging a pardon of Edward Snowden, you are suggesting President real Donald Trump pardon a traitor. Edward Snowden is not a victim. Snowden has American blood on his hands and should be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. Lindsey Graham, swamp creature who doesn't care about you, doesn't care about the Republican, the voter base, or Trump, is telling you that Snowden is the traitor. Oh, yeah? James Clapper denies lying to Congress about NSA surveillance program. The head of the U.S. intelligence community under former President Barack Obama, Mr. Clapper, recalled his 2013 testimony in light of the national security agencies reportedly abandoning a controversial warrantless mass surveillance program. Let me first read you the question. During a public hearing in March 2013, Mr. Clapper was asked by Senator Ron Wyden, Oregon Democrat, if the NSA collects, quote, any type of data at all on millions or hundreds of millions of Americans. No, sir, Mr. Clapper responded. Not wittingly. Oh, and there it is. Not wittingly. He said, I didn't lie. I made a big mistake. And I just simply didn't understand what I was being asked about, Mr. Clapper said on CNN. I thought of another surveillance program, Section 702 of the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act. When I was being asked about Section 215 of the Patriot Act, I just didn't understand the question when they said any type of data at all. No, sir. The answer is yes, sir. Yes. Clapper lied to Congress. And you know who we have to thank for exposing that? Edward Snowden. Now, I'm not going to sit here and pretend that Edward Snowden is the great whistleblower. I think he's a leaker. I think he took a trove of documents, many of which he did not read, and that's a fact, and he leaked them to journalists. You know, I think there's more good that came out of it than bad. I believe that's completely wrong of Lindsey Graham saying there's blood on his hands. But Edward Snowden, I think, should be pardoned. I do. Because at least he did us that favor. You see, these people never face any kind of justice or penalty for the crimes they commit. I don't care if it's James Clapper or a beat cop. I was personally involved in an incident in New York where an NYPD cop arrested a photographer and lied under oath on the forms and in court about why the arrest was made. But I filmed it, proving they lied. Did they get in trouble? No. Because the machine keeps on a-churning. Now, Lindsey Graham, you see, here's what happened. He won. So he's going to get another 6 years. Congratulations, good sir. He comes out and he pretends like he's all on board for MAGA, kind of. I can't believe that, whatever. The dude wins. And now this is what the Republicans have to look forward to. The Republican voters and the Trump supporters. You keep voting for this stuff. Why am I supposed to get angry about what you voted for? You know, I'll put it this way. Where they're defunding these police in Minneapolis, I can go and say that's dumb. I think we need police in a civilized society. We need police officers to be able to make arrests. Sometimes there's bad arrests and there's bad cops. But I'll tell you this right now. With the lockdowns, people complaining about everything going on, at this point, I'm just like, bro, you voted for all of this. At a certain point, accept responsibility for your choices. Okay? Now, I subscribe to the George Carlin approach where he says, you know, people will often say, if you don't vote, it's your fault. No, I disagree. You voted for it. I didn't vote for that guy. You did. George Carlin was right. You put your name behind this person, empowering them. I don't care if they're a Democrat or a Republican. If you don't vote, you're saying no confidence. I'm not giving you my support. And a lot of people don't vote. This time around, a lot of people did. That's my thing. So you look. I voted in 2008 and I didn't vote after that because I just didn't care. I'm not going to vote for these people. I don't like any of them. And if I see somebody who represents me, I'll vote. Now with Trump, I saw something different. Without even asking, he just started trying to pull the troops out of Afghanistan. I'm like, all right. I want that to continue. Where are we at now? Like 5 historic peace agreements, 4 are in the Middle East. Yeah, I think that's worth voting for. I do. That's just me. Anything else for Trump? For the most part, I don't know. The economy was pretty good. I take it, right? Right now, we are facing extremely trying times. The Constitution is being used as toilet paper by people like Cuomo and many of these Democrats. If there is no one to stand up to the machine, then what's the point? If the Republicans will not stand up for this, then what is the point? Now, look, we got Rand Paul, okay, and we got many people in the House, not just Mo Brooks, but you got Rand Paul in the Senate, and he probably will object. We'll see. I don't know. But Rand Paul's fantastic. Rand Paul is great. Ron Paul was also great. Big fan of the Paul family. And I think a lot of people were too, especially a lot of lefties, because the Paul's just libertarian. Well, I disagree with them, but they're like, but let me help you be free. And you can live, and be comfortable and safe and secure and pursue life, liberty and happiness and all that stuff. Yeah. So at least we have Rand Paul. And at least we have people like Tulsi Gabbard, who, far from perfect, has done a lot of good things, especially now that she didn't run, she didn't win. I think Tulsi's fantastic as well. Just a couple of politicians I actually like. Well, now MAGA turns on Mitch, and we'll see what this means. But it was a bold move of Mitch McConnell, because January 6th is the day that they count the Electoral College votes. The Georgia runoff, I believe it's January 5th. I could be wrong. I think so. But either way, people are voting now. Early voting is now. Mitch McConnell, what were you thinking coming out and signaling to all the Trump supporters, I will not support you or your president? Now, we've already seen Trump supporters say they're not going to vote for Loeffler or Perdue. There was I can't remember which, I think it was like Young Turks maybe, went down to a protest and was asking, maybe it wasn't Young Turks, but some journalist was asking Trump supporters in Georgia, will you vote for Loeffler and Perdue? And they said, I don't know. Some said, I'm not concerned about that race. I'm concerned about Trump. Yeah, because a lot of these people aren't Republicans. Look, it's easy for me. I'm not a Republican. I don't like the Republican Party. That's just me. The Republican Party was a vehicle for Trump to do what he needed to do. And now a new party needs to emerge. If you're not getting what you want from Republicans, then why bother voting for them? If they're just going to give the Democrats what the Democrats want, why bother voting for them? Now's your chance. There are a few people in the Republican Party who have come in as the party is slowly changing, who absolutely are defending Trump, though. Check this out. They say, incoming Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene, a Georgia Republican, was among the MAGA supporters who blasted McConnell over his remarks. Every, quote, Republican that isn't fighting for real Donald Trump's 2020 landslide victory is supporting the Chinese Communist Party's takeover of America, Greene tweeted following McConnell's remarks. So, yeah. And Lynn Wood said, Mitch McConnell is not a patriot. Ask his wife, she knows. McConnell just wants power, influence, and money. He is willing to sell America to get what he wants. McConnell is a traitor to American patriots. His day of judgment is coming. Now, Lynn Wood's kind of snapped off with a bunch of crazy posts. General Flynn, Michael Flynn says, millions and millions and millions of patriots stand behind, alongside, and in front of you during this crucible moment in U.S. history, where our very republic is on the line. We won't fail or cower like some in the Republican Party have shown. Sebastian Gorka said, Mitch McConnell caves to the mob, refuses to wait for the final January 6th Electoral College count. Why? Mark Levin, I think that we should all thank Mitch McConnell for his excellent help in challenging the lawless acts of the Biden campaign and Democrats in the key battleground states. Wait, he was AWOL? Oh, well then, thanks for nothing, Mitch. Trump helped you secure your seat, as he did so many Senate and House seats, and you couldn't even wait until January 6th. You've been the GOP leader in the Senate for far too long. It's time for some fresh thinking and new blood. Nick Fuentes says McConnell is a traitor and a rhino. I don't like Mitch McConnell. So let me tell you something. Maybe you're a Republican and you're saying, Tim, no! Stop saying this. We can't let the Democrats win. I'm not a Republican. I've never been a Republican. I've never been a member of the Republican Party. You see, you may have convinced me this time around to vote Republican for some reasons, but you've already lost me. I wouldn't call it fair weather friendship. I wouldn't call it grifting or anything like that. I would say that this time around, I saw benefits to supporting Trump and the Republicans, but it was Trump. It was. I mean, he was the bull tearing down the doors of the ivory tower and trying to end the wars in the Middle East. So, well, within reason, okay, look, the Iran stuff, I'm not a fan of. But what I saw from Trump, I was like, I will take more of these peace agreements, please, because Joe Biden is going to be way worse. The Obama administration was awful. So you've convinced me, someone who is center left, to turn to the right and say, okay, I'll throw my support in that direction. That's what happened. And now that the Republicans are basically like, we don't like Trump, I'm like, well, you got nothing for me at this point. Look, Republican values have never been, for the most part, my values. I'm certainly very liberty-minded. You know, that's why I like Ron and Rand Paul. And it's probably why I could bring myself to vote for Republicans. But when it comes to a lot of the social issues, a lot of things the Republican Party has traditionally stood for, I just don't care. I've never cared. I don't see them as doing anything for me. Not that I care about Democrats. I think right now, unfortunately, we have corporate garbage like Joe Biden, but then we have far left. It's like, dude, can't we have like a moderate center left populist who's just like, I actually think we should figure out a way to get more people cheaper health care and negotiate with everybody to come up with a solution, and maybe a public option to increase competition between the public and private sector, or just something. Instead, what we get are these establishment crony garbage politicians who are like, Joe Biden, woohoo. And then the other ones are like, Joe Biden's awful, but we want full blown communism. And I'm just like, you got nothing for me, dude. Nah. So I tell you this, man. I wouldn't be surprised if Republicans get BTFO'd come January in Georgia runoff. It's going to be amazing. Mitch McConnell doesn't have your back. He never did. He's an old crony fogey. He's part of the uniparty. He's more friends with the Democrats establishment than any regular American or populist, and Lindsey Graham too. If Lindsey Graham had his way, first of all, he would do nothing for Trump amid all of this insane BS investigation garbage. He would do nothing. And worse still, he would defend the individuals who lie to Congress and lie to us, to spy on us, steal our data, and be general creepos like Clapper. Lindsey Graham would defend that. Nah, Snowden's far from perfect. Snowden leaked a bunch of information and he didn't read a lot of it. That's stupid. But I am glad that we got this information, because these warrantless programs, many of which got shut down. Now, they're probably still doing it. Not that things change all that much, but I want accountability. I want the American people to have a voice in how the system is run. Not direct democracy, a constitutional republic. When we vote for someone, we expect accountability when they do things we don't like. When we vote for people, they do things, and we often say, well, I trust them to do the right thing. That's a republic. Okay. And sometimes they make tough choices and sometimes you don't like it. But right now, what we've been watching for at least my lifetime with people like McConnell and Schumer and Pelosi and Lindsey Graham has been garbage swamp creatures that are accountable to no one and win because people are like, oh no, the D, oh no, the R. Don't care about either. We were talking about this last night. Maybe we just remove political parties from ballots so people can't see which party is which. You just see a name. And if you don't know the name, well, too bad. It might not change everything, but I think it's a start. Then people are going to go in there and be like, I don't know which one's the Democrat. Yeah, well, too bad. If you don't know who they are, you shouldn't vote for them, right? Maybe that's a start. Or maybe it's simple. Trump supporters form a new political party, a populist party of some sort, and then you're going to have 74 million votes. The Republicans will not survive, and the new political party will thrive. Because look how much money Trump raised, hundreds of millions, breaking records. That's Trump. This is Trump's opportunity to come out and say, the Republicans did not support me. They did not support you. They didn't have our back. They did not fight for the American people. And that's why there's a new party. Sign up today. It may be a hard fight, but it's something that has to be done. It may mean, because of the way our election system works, that Democrats will win this time around. But I actually think if Trump formed a new political party, they would start winning congressional seats left and right. They'd start winning local elections left and right, because people would be like, thank you, get rid of those Republicans. Too many conservatives feel like they have no choice, and they're like, that's all we have is Republicans. Well, now there's a chance for a new political party. The Democrat progressives, they should do the same thing, 100%. Tell the crony establishment, we're done with y'all. I'll leave it there. Next segment's coming up at 1 p.m. on this channel. Thanks for hanging out, and I will see you all then.